Right, number 1, find all the intercepts of the graph y equals 3x plus 7 over 4 minus x. Right, so first of all, let's go ahead and find the y-intercepts. And remember, to find the y-intercepts, we'll just let the x be 0. So put a 0 wherever the x is. And then when I do that, I get 7/4. So my y-intercept is going to be 0, 7/4. And then to get the x-intercept, remember we're going to set the y equal to 0. So put 0 equals 3x plus 7 over 4 minus x. And then if you recall previously, I crossed out the denominator because if the denominator ever equaled 0, it would be undefined. So we really only care about the numerator for the x-intercept. So if I just set 3x plus 7 equal to 0, I'll get x is equal to negative 7/3. So my other intercept is going to be negative 7/3, 0. To find all points of intersection of the graphs, x squared plus y equals 2 and 2x minus y equals 1. All right, what we want to do is go ahead and solve one of the equations for y. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this one for y. Doesn't really matter which one. If I do that, if I subtract x squared from both sides, I'm going to get y equals 2 minus x squared. And then we'll go ahead and plug this in for the y in the second equation. So I'm going to get 2x minus the quantity 2 minus x squared is equal to 1, right? And then we're going to distribute the negative to both parts. So we'll get 2x minus 2. Can you guys please sit by each other and talk a little quieter? Pretty please. Plus x squared is equal to 1. And then since there is more than one x in this problem, I would like to set it equal to 0 so I can solve. Okay, so when I do that, I'm actually going to be putting it in order also. The x squared would come first, and then the plus 2x, this would be minus 3, is equal to 0. And then from here, I notice that this will factor into x plus 3, x minus 1. And using the zeros product property, I know that x will equal negative 3, or x will equal 1. And I'm not quite done because I needed to find the points of intersection, which means I actually have to find the y values for each one. So when x equals negative 3, I'm going to go back into this one where it's already solved for y. So I'm going to have y equals 2 minus negative 3 squared. And that will equal negative 3 squared is 9. 2 minus 9 is negative 7. And then when x equals 1, we'll get y equals 2 minus 1 squared, and 1 squared is 1, 2 minus 1 is 1. So my 2 points of intersection are going to be negative 3, negative 7, and 1, 1. Alrighty. Number 3, show that the graph of xy minus the square root of 4 minus x squared equals 0 is symmetric to the origin. Alright, so to do this, what we are going to do is, if it's symmetric with respect to the origin, we switch the x and the y to their negatives. So negative x times negative y minus the square root of 4 minus negative x, quantity squared, equals 0. Right? Negative x times negative y will equal x minus y, and then minus the square root, 4 minus negative x, when we square it, becomes x squared, equals 0. And I notice that I have the exact same equation that I started with, so put a little box to show I have proven that to be true. Number 4, determine the slope and y-intercept of the line given by the equation 3x minus 7y equals 11, and then sketch a graph of the line. So there are three things: slope, intercept, sketch a graph. Okay, so first of all, to get the slope, we can, if we would like to, use our shortcut on this one. The slope is just going to be negative a over b, so it's going to actually end up being 3/7. The problem we're going to run into in this one, when we want to find that y-intercept, we're still going to have to solve it for y. So although that was a nice thing to do, we'd still have to kind of go do some work. So I'm going to solve this for y, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. I've got negative 7y equals negative 3x plus 11. And then we'll divide all three parts by negative 7. So we'll get y equals positive 3/7 x minus 11/7. So my y-intercept is going to end up being negative 11/7. Okay, and then the third thing I needed to do was sketch a graph of the line. Alrighty, and so let's see. Negative 11/7 is negative 1 point something, so we're going to go down to negative 1 point something. Whoop. And then if I have a slope of 3/7, that means we get to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to go somewhere there. I'm going to try my best to draw a straight line on this thing. I have a little difficulty doing that, so we'll just pretend like that was a straight line when I did that. Problem 5. If the point negative 1, 5 lies in the graph of the equation y equals x to the fourth minus x squared plus 2, find the value of k. If you recall, if the point lies on the graph, if I were to plug it into the equation, I will, both sides will equal each other. So for the y, we'll put 5, and for each of the x's, we will put negative 1, and then we'll just solve for k. So I get 5 equals negative 1 to the fourth power is going to be 1, and then minus negative 1 squared is 1 times k is k, and then plus 2. And then I'll get 5 equals, if I combine the 1 and the 2, I'll get 3. And then I'll subtract 3 from both sides, which will give me 2 equals negative k, which means k is equal to negative 2.